Ayan, good afternoon, teachers. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Sir Alvin, can you hear me naman? Narinig naman ako?
Yes, Sir Franco, loud and
Yan.
clear po.
At ikaw din, naririnig din kita na ng malinaw na malinaw sa araw na to. Magandang hapon, Sir Alvin, and sa ating mga teachers, good afternoon po. At welcome sa ating Edpuzzle webinar series episode number 4. Tama ba ako, Sir Alvin? 4 na ba tayo? Number 4 na tayo. Yes, number 4 na. Oo, pang-apat pa lang ito. No? Meron pa tayong 6. Okay? 6 more to go for this webinar series. And we're making sure, teachers, na every step of the way, you're getting to know Edpuzzle much, much deeper and much better, no? Para po mas magamit talaga natin itong Edpuzzle. Pero Sir Alwin, kay so far, kay kumusta ang ating community sa yung experience so far? Ano na yung mga feedback nila about Edpuzzle? Ako kasi ang dami kong magandang feedback eh. Pero sa'yo muna, ikaw muna. Kasi ikaw syempre yung mas babad sa training eh.
Sir Franco, yung sa akin naman, ang gaganda ng feedback na natatanggap din natin. Tapos marami po tayong Edpuzzle coaches ang nag-i-inquire about kung pwede daw ba silang magbigay ng training, kung pwede daw bang gamitin ito sa kanilang mga susunod na training, lalo na sa mga public school kapag nagsimula ng kanilang klase. Kaya ang sarap sa pakiramdam, ang sarap sa feeling na gustong-gustong gamitin ng mga teachers ang Edpuzzle.
Yes, totoo. No, game changer ang sabi ng mga ibang teachers, no, that Edpuzzle is such a game changer when it comes to flipped classroom. And it really redefines, no, Sir Alwin, what we're doing in the classroom, and especially right now in a pandemic school year where we are in an online distance modality. Edpuzzle sort of like give you that leverage in order to conduct your classes in a much more meaningful way para hindi lang po video lang, pero ngayon meron ka ng annotated video using Edpuzzle. At ayun, sabi nga Sir Alwin, may mga nagme-message sa akin, binago ng Edpuzzle ang buhay nila, ng Edpuzzle ang buhay nila bilang guro sa online distance learning, no. For of course, no, for our guests to understand that some Filipino educators are saying that Edpuzzle changed their lives for the better in an online distance learning setup. Okay, because I know, of course, no, we have a international guest for today, Sir Alwin. Okay, pero Sir
International.
Alwin, now may you please give us, Sir Alwin, no, what's up for today and what do our teachers, no, can expect for our session for today.
So, once again, teachers, good afternoon. For today, we will be using or understanding more about Edpuzzle. Mas bibigyan po tayo ng mas malawak at mas malinaw na pagkakaintindi sa Edpuzzle, lalo na po kung paano natin gagamitin ang Edpuzzle sa synchronous and asynchronous learning. Pero teachers, may bonus po tayo ngayon. Ang ating speaker po, masigasig. So our speaker would be adding to us a view of using Edpuzzle in blended learning. And we will be having another guest who will be talking about the updates of Edpuzzle. So nakita niyo naman po, teachers, na paano gamitin ng Edpuzzle isang speaker natin. Yung isang po kasama po natin mamaya, sasamahan din po tayo ng isang from Edpuzzle Global at i-discuss naman po niya ang mga updates na ilabas na din natin sa ating Facebook group. Pero mas may detalye na po, mas detalyado ang mga updates na i-discuss ng ating isang speaker.
Yes, 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 yes. Ito talaga yung pinakaindi. No? This is something that all our teachers know. So, teachers, ngayon, last time, pag-usapan natin about technicalities of Edpuzzle. We've taught you about integration. We've taught you about creating accounts, creating classes. Right now, it's all about the deep diving into Edpuzzle. How can we actually use Edpuzzle in real situation inside our digital classroom? And you know what, Sir Alwin, kanina, no? Our speaker for today is so enthusiastic because I asked him, sir, of course, I won't want to reveal the name yet, okay? But I asked our speaker if can we have the session for this much minutes, no? But he said, I have like a demonstration, can have more time, something. Sure, of course, no, we will give you all the time in the world because this session is actually designed for for our speaker for today. So so you can expect great things, okay, for today's session, teachers, okay. So And Sir Alwin, huwag natin kakalimutan, okay, aside from our very brilliant speaker for today, okay, and of course, the updates that's coming in Edpuzzle, let's not forget, we're also going to announce our Edpuzzle Coach of the Month and Edpuzzle Educator of the Month today. Sino nga ba ang nanalo para sa ating July competition at makakatanggap ng Edpuzzle Pilipinas swag bags, and of course, cash prizes. Okay, so those are all the things that's going to be packed for the next 1 hour and 30 minutes. So, Sir Alwin, wag na nating patagalin. Why not introduce to us right now our speaker who's going to talk about maximizing Edpuzzle in synchronous and asynchronous learning.
Okay, Sir Franco, thank you very much for that. So, teachers, umpisan ko na po, pakilala ko na po ang ating speaker. So, ang una po nating speaker is the Edpuzzle Edtech Specialist for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. He is also an International Society for Technology in Education and Google for Education trainer. He is a former science teacher, passionate about self-directed learning and using technology inside and outside the classroom. That's why he is really one of the best persons to discuss maximizing Edpuzzle in synchronous and asynchronous learning, because he is also teaching or training teachers from every single continent in the planet, Sir Franco. And for him, videos are a major component of his instructional materials, both for his lessons and training sessions. So teachers, Edpuzzle Pilipinas, ipinapakilala ko po sa inyo our speaker for tonight, Mr. Bogdan Copil.
Hello, everybody. And thank you, Sir Alvin. Thank you, Sir Franco, for the intro, for the awesome intro. I really like the energy and how engaged everybody is. So I'm always happy to see educators coming together and sharing best practices. I have to greet everybody and let you know that I'm joining you from Romania. So I'm based in Romania. I actually saw in the chat somebody from Romania, so I will just say hello, Christina. Shout out. I'm surprised to see you in a webinar for the Philippines, but this is the power of technology. You can actually connect with educators from all over the world, and that's one of the best things when it comes to technology and access to technology.
Yes, no, welcome to the Philippines, Bogdan, virtually at least. But we hope no, even after the pandemic, you can actually visit us here soon in the Philippines once everything subsides and everything gets better. Okay, and yes, no, yes, Bogdan, we have actually viewers, okay, from other countries as well: India, Indonesia, Malaysia, other Edpuzzle communities. Okay. So maybe before we set you up for your session, Bogdan, for today, maybe you could give us like what our teachers can expect from your session, and what will we be like doing for the next for the next minutes and hours. So.
Yeah. So as you said, I want to talk a bit about synchronous versus asynchronous learning and where Edpuzzle fits in this big. Let's call it puzzle, and how it can actually support educators and teachers with saving time, giving feedback, differentiation, and so on and so forth. And then I want to present 3 possible scenarios, 3 clear examples of situations where you could use Edpuzzle in different teaching and learning models. And then my suggestion is to actually try an experiment with you actually to create an open class and invite some of the viewers in the open class just to demonstrate how quick and easy it is to set up the class, get people in, and also show the live mode. Because I know that in most cases, we are using the regular mode for Edpuzzle, not the live mode. So I think it would be interesting for educators to see also how that works and how easy it is to use it even for a situation like this where we are in a webinar. And then, of course, if there are any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Yeah, we'll be in the chat, teachers, now while Bogdan's taking the session. So Bogdan, will give you the floor now, and we can now start your session.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I kept the slides sort of simple, and we'll just focus on some of the key ideas. But please, if you have any questions, do leave them in the chat. I am looking at the comments as well. So if you see me turn my head to the right, that's because I'm checking the comments on the other screen. And I would love to hear also your questions and your input and your contributions to the conversation. So we already had the intro for myself. So I am a Google for Education trainer, an ISTA certified trainer. I've been working with teachers from all over the place. On this map, you see the locations where I've trained teachers in person, but now with the online webinars, I've literally had teachers from all continents in the past year, in the past years, not only in the past year. And as it was already mentioned, video plays such a big role in my teaching approach, because it gives me so much flexibility and it allows me to sort of clone myself. And this is where Edpuzzle just fits like a glove. So just to know where everybody is with the Edpuzzle, can you quickly just type in the chat how familiar are you with Edpuzzle? You can say, well, I've never used it, but the key point here, I even made it in bold yet. I hope that if anybody hasn't used it yet, you will get inspired and you will try to use it. Type 2 in the chat if you have tried it out. 3 if you're already using it with your students. And 4 if you're the Edpuzzle ninja, you're the expert. You already know what's happening and you know all the tips and tricks, and you can share some with us as well. Okay, so I already see a mix in the comments, and I see that some of you haven't used it yet. I will actually then showcase some of the bits and pieces that could get you going. So we will not have time in this session to go through all of the basics. You will have some other webinars and some other trainings that you can use. We'll focus on some bits and pieces that could be helpful for you. Franco, 5 for Ambassador Alwin. I should add that as well. I should have added the 5th level, the mega ninja, arch ninja. Okay, thank you. So I'm happy to see that there are also quite a few of you that say, hey, I haven't used it yet, but I am planning to use it in the next school year. And it's an awesome moment to discover Edpuzzle and see what it can actually do. So let's start first with the distinction, or let's talk a bit about synchronous versus asynchronous learning, because that would be the starting point, right? What's the difference between them? And I've listed these are just some ideas that we can have in mind. Of course, there's many more we can say about both of them. But in a nutshell, to sort of compare them, synchronous means that every learner or the learning process happens in real time. Everybody is connected, or everybody is together in the same room. So this doesn't mean that we need to be physically in school. We can also be like we are doing now. We are in a synchronous learning situation right now as well. You're tuning in live, we can interact, we can have conversations, we can collaborate. So this is a clear example of synchronous learning, right? Now, one constraint for synchronous learning is that it is actually quite rigid sometimes. What do I mean by rigid? It means that, for example, if we have it in a physical location, we all have to be in the same room, right? Or if we are doing it in a webinar, everybody needs to join at a specific time for the webinar in order to enjoy that synchronous learning experience. In some other cases, and it can also happen, actually, that's one of the downsides, sort of with the synchronous learning part, is that some learners may feel neglected. So especially when you're teaching in the classroom and you have a group of 15, 20, 25, 30 students, it's literally impossible to make sure that everybody is always getting all the attention they need, because we are only one person as a teacher, we have many students. Of course, we can strive to cater for the needs of all of them, but there will invariably be times when some of the students might feel neglected, or they might not get all the attention they need. Asynchronous learning, on the other hand, as the name suggests, it's not in sync. So everybody learns at their own pace. They can do it anywhere. So this is more focused on the learner rather than the whole group or the instructor providing the information. I'm sorry if you hear the background noises. There's a huge storm that just started, so I hope that's not interfering with the audio. So getting back to the asynchronous and learner-centered approach. How would the asynchronous learning work? Mainly, you can use online courses or pre-recorded videos, or you can even use emails, for example. For that, you can send materials, blogs, and so on and so forth. Even discussion boards or groups, like think about a Google group, for example, where you have the learners, and you'll have everybody just doing the assignments at their own time, whenever they want, wherever they would be. This does provide us with a lot of flexibility, but also that means that we need to encourage self-discipline in our learners. So especially when we work with younger learners, like middle school kids, high school kids, maybe even younger than that, we do need to encourage self-discipline. We do need to make them accountable. We do need to find those mechanisms to motivate them, to encourage them to take part. So this is just a brief comparison between those two sessions, those two types of learning, right? Synchronous and asynchronous. Now, is one better than the other? Obviously, this is not a question that you can answer with yes or no, just like that, because it depends a lot on the scenario you're working with. So, of course, when you're in the classroom with your students in the classroom, you will mainly focus on synchronous learning. When you're using distance learning or hybrid learning, you will focus more on asynchronous learning as well. But the bottom line is this: synchronous and asynchronous can go very well hand in hand. Hence, we talk more about blended learning, and this is where blended learning also comes from. You mix them. You mix synchronous with asynchronous as you need for just achieving your learning objectives, right? And we can think even of some scenarios, like what are some possible scenarios? We are fully remote, so this is where asynchronous learning might play a bigger role, because we need to assign the work, tests, homework, whatever, materials for revision. We could assign them to our students. They can go through them and at their own pace. And then, of course, we can have those regular live sessions via Meet, via Zoom, via any other platform we might be using. Hybrid, this is the combination where we have some students in the classroom and some students are at home and they can join us online. So this is sort of the middle ground between these two extremes. And then, of course, we have the full in-person scenario where everybody is in school. We have in the classroom, we can collaborate and communicate directly. Now, where does Edpuzzle fit in these scenarios and in this mix of synchronous versus asynchronous learning or blended learning? Well, actually, it can fit in any of these scenarios, depending on how we use it. It can fit like a glove for many, many different approaches that we might have with our students. For those of you that chose one for my previous question, so you might be new to Edpuzzle and you haven't used it yet, remember that Edpuzzle actually, what Edpuzzle does is it allows us to take a video, and that can be any video from YouTube. So other people might be creating content and putting it on YouTube, and we could use those videos. We could also create our own videos, and then on top of these videos, we can add interactive elements. So we could add assessment questions, which could help us check if our students understood the topic. So they are great for comprehension checks. They are great for helping us keeping track of our students' progress and seeing where they are. Besides the questions, of course, we can add other elements. So we could add a voiceover, giving our students some details about the video and presenting the context, for example, or just some other extra resources. Now, as I said, for those of you that are newer to Edpuzzle, we will not go through all of the basics in this session, but just a recap. I wanted to get that out of the way so you know what Edpuzzle can do. So these are some other examples, right, where we can actually use Edpuzzle in our lessons, be it synchronous or asynchronous or blended. So we could use it to introduce content, and rather than us teaching, we can use videos for the introduction of the content. We can have, we can start from different documentaries, for example, and add our questions on top of them. Then, of course, there's also practice. We can use Edpuzzle for practice. So let's think of a documentary. I might start off with a documentary about ecosystems. So I was a science teacher, so I've used videos about ecosystems and weird animals and adaptations quite a lot. So I could start from a documentary that's online, and I could have the whole practice part added on top of it. So my students would practice writing their responses or answering different questions and so on and so forth. And then this is where the next component, the teacher time, becomes even more valuable for me. Why? Because now my students could use those videos to discover new content, to practice, to answer questions. And then Edpuzzle will give me feedback, and it will also give my students feedback. And for me as a teacher, that's invaluable. Why? Because I know where every student is in real time. I can see their progress. I can also adapt my teaching. So based on what my students' responses are, I can change my approach for the next lesson or for the second half of the lesson, and so on and so forth. And we have all of the other options that are brought to the table. So we can give individualized feedback. We can start discussions with our students based on their responses and have whole class debates. So this is where it depends on us, as I said, what our end learning goal is, right? So a quick example, let's say I do assign that video about the ecosystems. I have some questions on the video. I assign it to my students. They watch it at home. They respond to my questions. And then when we meet in the classroom for the synchronous session, we start the whole class discussion or the debates based on their answers. And I'll have everything neatly organized. So that's why I really like this comparison of we can think about Edpuzzle or videos being like a teacher clone. Because if we do have videos, especially if we create our own videos, then we can definitely say that we are talking about a clone, because then it will be us presenting as well. But this allows me to sort of copy myself rather than talking to all the students at once in the classroom. I could be talking to all of them separately via video. They can rewatch the video as many times as they want. They can go back and repeat that part of the video that they did not understand, and that gives them a lot of flexibility. Whereas if I would be just teaching in the classroom, that would be a bit more difficult. I'm not saying that it would be impossible, but definitely it would be more difficult to rewind and repeat the same thing every time a student has a question. So how can we actually use Edpuzzle? And that's why today I wanted to sort of show you the live mode, because the classic mode is the one that's used in most situations. So this is where you assign a video, students watch it, they work independently, they work at their own pace, and then we can have that group conversation, or we could give the feedback, or we could give the grades. There's also the live mode, where rather than students watching the videos on their own, on their devices, we could watch the video together in the classroom. And on their devices, they will just answer the questions that you've added to the video. And this is great for synchronous learning, right? When everybody's in the same place, in the same room, in the same meet, in the same webinar. And you do want to get that input from your students. So you do have some questions on the video. You do want to get some input from them, and you get that live feedback. So this is what we'll try to demonstrate a bit later, because as I said, this is one mode that's not used so often, even though it can be very powerful. So what are the steps for creating the videos? You do create a video in Edpuzzle. So you either start from an existing video on YouTube or on Edpuzzle. You can actually share them with your students. And there's a good question in the chat. Are there any copyright issues when using videos from YouTube for our Edpuzzle lessons? That's a great question. No, there are no copyright issues. And let me explain why. Because the video actually is still on YouTube. You're not taking the video from YouTube. You're watching it on YouTube. What Edpuzzle does, it just adds those interactive elements on top of the video. Now, whenever a video is uploaded to YouTube, according to the YouTube license, they can be used by anybody as long as they are on YouTube. And of course, we are not using them for monetary gain, right? So we are not using them for a conference where we sell tickets for the participants. Then that's a different story, but that doesn't apply to us, right? Now, as I said, the video still is on YouTube. You're not changing the original video. You're just viewing it. So there are no copyright issues there. Now, if you, let's say, steal somebody else's video from YouTube, you download it and then you upload it as your own, that's a different story, because then you did take the video off YouTube, and then that's a totally different story. But in a regular scenario, as I said, no worries. We are good with the copyright. So we assign the video to our students. They watch it at their own pace. They learn from the video. They can also learn at their own speed. So this is a great addition when it comes to differentiation, because students can get their time, how much time they need. They can take it for practice, for rewatching the videos, and so on and so forth. The good part is also that we encourage them to be independent learners, so they are more accountable. And of course, the final step or the goal for us would be to actually have our students achieve mastery. So we can actually help them see their progress and track their progress by using the different questions we have on top of the videos. So then they can get immediate feedback if you use multiple choice questions, for example, or if you have short answer questions, you can also manually grade some of them. And then they will know, hey, I got 9 questions out of 10 correct. I feel pretty confident in my knowledge for this unit, right? If I got only 2 out of 10, I might need to go back and rewatch the video, practice a bit more, and then try it again, right? So that's also one of the key things. Now, what impact does this have on the actual teaching and learning using videos, right? This is from a study done by the Johns Hopkins University. So basically from that cohort of students, 88% of them did feel that using videos and them being given the responsibility for watching the videos and having that space actually made them feel more responsible for their own learning, which is an awesome thing. So I'm all in for self-directed learning and independent learning. So any tool that helps me increase that in my students is a nice addition to my teacher tool belt. On the teacher side, though, the advantage is, and this is what 85% of the teachers actually felt, was that they have more time to work one-on-one with students. So this is where we can think about that idea of blended learning and combining synchronous versus synchronous and asynchronous learning. So it can easily be the case where most of my class is working on certain videos that I've assigned to them. And I might have 2 or 3 students that are maybe struggling with that subject or with that topic. And then I can spend more time with those 3 students while the others are working on their own activities. So then it will be a mix of asynchronous for most of the group. And for those 3 students who I will be working with one-to-one or one to the small group, that would be an example of synchronous learning as well. So this would be an example of a combination inside the same classroom. Now, as I said, I just want to give you some quick examples, and then we'll do the quick demo. And by the way, please do let me know if you have any questions in the chat. So I would also be curious to see if you've used the synchronous or asynchronous approach before, or if you prefer one or the other. Now, having said that, remember, we usually use a mix of them. It's not only one or the other, even during the same lesson. So let's look at 3 examples and let's see how Edpuzzle fits in these examples. First one, let's say, of course, I was a science teacher, so I will start with a science example because that's my domain. And we'll talk a bit about one approach, which is called the station rotations, right? So of course, you can do this offline. You can do this without any online materials and online tools, but you can also throw in the online activities and online tools, including Edpuzzle in this case, right? So this is my scenario. I need to teach my students about the different states of matter, solids, liquids, or gases, and I want to teach them either by observing their properties or having different activities. And this is how a station rotation would look like. So we can imagine having 3 different sort of tables or 3 different stations in our classroom. where we have, let's say, one station for solids, where students explore the properties of solid objects, one station for liquids, one station for gases, and then they work 15 minutes for every station. And then they rotate. So that's why it's called the station rotation model. And me as a teacher, I can just wander around and support all of them and see if they need help, or if they actually are stuck somewhere, I could give them some hints. Now, this is, once again, just an example. We can play with it and we can tweak things around. Another example for a station rotation approach would be this. Rather than focusing on solids, liquids, and gases, I could focus on different approaches for every station. So I could have, for example, the online station, where students review some of the key ideas and key concepts. And this is where Edpuzzle would work great, because I can assign the videos in my Edpuzzle. I can share it with my students, share it with them via the learning management system, for example, Google Classroom or Moodle or anything else I would be using. And I know that this group of students can work independently. They have the guidance in the video, they can answer the questions, and so on and so forth. I could have a second station, which is the offline station, where they can just play around with different substances, for example, and have a look at their properties. And then there's the third bit, which would be the teacher-led station, where the teacher will be at this station for most of the time, and they will work, we as teachers will be working with whatever group of students we have at the station at that point. And this can be done, we can clarify some of their questions. We could work on reviewing, for example, homework or assignments from the classroom, or we could just give them feedback on what they've been doing in the other two stations. So there's a lot of flexibility here. And of course, I did say that we can use Edpuzzle for one of the stations. We could also use it for all three stations. And then we could even say, hey, we have, going back to the previous example, we could use Edpuzzle here for all of them. Some students will learn about solids. They'll have a video on solids. Some will learn on about liquids. Some will learn about gases, and then they will flip around. So a lot of flexibility here. And once again, remember what I said, that we usually have a mixture of synchronous and asynchronous. This is the perfect example. So these students will be working on their own. They can rewatch, they can rewind, they can go back and forth to the video. This is an example of asynchronous. Here, the teacher will be there with the students, interacting with them live. This is an example of synchronous learning. And the offline station, it depends how we build it. If it's a group activity, they will be working together. That can also be an example of synchronous learning. But if at this table everybody's working independently, it could also be just as well an asynchronous approach. So remember, we rarely have only one of them at one given time, especially when we use these types of learning models. So this is the example for the science. For the writing class, let's have a look at the flipped classroom. We might have heard about this model before, and I'm sure that you will get more resources and more ideas for the flipped classroom. What is the regular flip? So rather than us teaching everything at school and then talking with the students in the classroom, we can assign tasks beforehand. So we could assign the video through Edpuzzle and make sure that they watch it at home and they understand the topic at hand. And then when we get to school, we will spend the interaction, the teaching time, not actually teaching the content, because they've already done that. We've already done that with the help of Edpuzzle. But we will actually spend time clarifying questions, having debates, going deeper in the subject, and so on and so forth. So how would this work? Once again, especially for those of you that you said you're newer to Edpuzzle, you do get the video. You find it either in the Edpuzzle library. By the way, remember, there's a big library with lots of videos we can start from. We add our questions on top of the video, and this is what helps us to keep our students accountable, and we can also assess their understanding. And then we assign the video lesson either as homework or in the newer sort of flipped classroom model, we could even assign it during the live class. So that's also entirely possible, where let's say I have a lesson of 60 minutes. In the first 15 minutes, I can use the video I assign it to all of the students. They watch it. They rewatch the bits that they did not understand. They answer the questions. And then as a teacher, I can check the analytics. So Edpuzzle will show me how many students got, or how which of the questions were problematic for the students. And that will tell me, okay, I had 10 questions on my video. Most of my students struggled with questions 7 and 8. And then I spent the rest of the lesson clarifying those answers and having those conversations and going deeper with my students for that particular part of the lesson. So this is where we get to the student-centered learning, where rather than just teaching the generic content, we focus on what's really important for them and those areas where they were falling behind. So this is an example of an in-class flip. This is what I was saying. So every student can work independently. They can watch videos at their own pace. And as a teacher, I can also walk around and maybe support those students that need help. So the regular flip we were talking about earlier was students work at home, and at school, we just go to their responses and clarify things. In classroom flip, we will actually have the videos running in the classroom live. Every student works on their own video, but as a teacher, I have the flexibility to also walk around and support those students that need help. And of course, at the end, we'll have the whole class discussion as well. And let me give you the third example, the math class. And this is where we'll start talking about the Edpuzzle live mode, just as a different approach to using Edpuzzle. And of course, I gave this example for science, English, and math. Of course, they can be adapted to any classroom you'd be teaching. You don't have to restrict it to math or science. So this is what normally happens in a normal lesson, right? You have the teacher that gives the directions, that models, explains things, and then you have all of the students paying attention. You might have 1 or 2 students that are confused. And unfortunately, as I said, as we are only one person, we don't always manage to have one-on-one time with everybody. So some of the students might be confused. Now, if we use a different approach, so rather than having us as the main source of information, we could replace ourselves with the Edpuzzle live mode. So how does that work? You can project the video on the board, let's say, or if we have an online lesson, we could have the video actually on the Meet or on the webinar. And the students watch the video and then they respond on their own devices. So they can join the class, they can see the assignment, they can respond on their own devices. And of course, as a teacher, I can circulate around and help whoever needs help. So the confused student in the first scenario now actually can have more of my attention because everybody's engaged with the video and everybody is paying attention and gets the information from the video. And if there are students that are struggling or that are confused, I can easily just go and work with them one-on-one. So once again, this is an example of a synchronous approach. So everybody's learning at the same time, but this just gives me more flexibility as a teacher. So I see that where you were mentioning that the Edpuzzle live mode looks very exciting. It does, and as I said, it can be very helpful depending on what we are trying to do during the lesson. Now, keep in mind, it doesn't have to be used only in math, right? It can be used in any other situation. So I want some of your input now because I gave you 3 examples and I just want to see how many of you have used any of these models. So you can type in the chat quickly. Have you used 1 for rotation station, 2 for flip learning, or 3 for live mode? And you can just choose, if you used all 3 of them, just type in 1, 2, 3 so we can see more or less if you've been using these models. And I know that one of the most common models that is used by many educators is the flipped learning model. But that's why I wanted to give you some more examples, as in thinking a bit outside of the regular approach. So we can actually basically diversify our approach and our tool belt. So I see flipped learning. I see also a bit of live mode. Oh, okay. I see also a combination of rotation station and live mode. Awesome. So that's good. I'm really happy to see that some of you are already using the live mode. And we'll also demo that really quickly. So And of course, if you have questions, please do write them in the chat. We are paying attention to them. So as I said, let's have a quick demo. So I'll try to keep it under 5 minutes, just so you see how fast I can set up an open class, invite you as students, create the video assignment, and see your answers, right? Mirasol, I like your answer, especially the yet part. You said not yet, because this is my first time to attend. So I'm happy to see the yet part, because that means that hopefully you will give it a go and you will love Edpuzzle. I'm sure about that. So let me quickly demonstrate this. As I said, really quickly, I am going to Edpuzzle, and I'll show you how fast the whole thing can be set up. So I will start by creating a class from my classes, and I will create a new class where you see the plus sign. That's a good starting point. Let me call it Synchronous and Async learning. I'm using the abbreviated words. Let's choose other, because we have our higher education, and for subject we'll use other, because we have it as a demo for the webinar. Now this is where I can choose between a class type, a classic type, a class, or an open one, and we'll have the open one. Now, as I said, when you work with your students regularly, the classic classroom would be more useful. Now, because I have you only for this webinar and I want to give all of you access, if you want to join for the quick demo, I'm using an open class. I have my classroom created. The next step would be to create my content, my video, right? So let's search for Edpuzzle. So let's say I want to use a video about Edpuzzle. I can browse the videos that are made by the Edpuzzle community. So you see that there are quite a few videos already on Edpuzzle about Edpuzzle. Or I can start from YouTube. I can start from a video from scratch. And this is what I will do. I will start from this video. It's a short video. It's 1 minute and 10 seconds. And I will choose to edit the video. Now you have lots of options in terms of editing the video. You might even want to cut it. So obviously, I will not use the whole video now for this example. I will cut it here. So rather than using the whole video, I will only use that small bit, the first 20 seconds. And remember, you can add all the other elements on it. So you can add different questions wherever you want on the video. So let's say towards of the end of the video, I want to add a question just to check your comprehension. Now, remember, this is just a quick demo. You can add as many questions as you want on top of the videos. You can add multiple choice, open-ended, or notes. So let's use an example of a multiple choice question. And I will ask you, what videos can you use with Edpuzzle, right? And then I'll obviously need to give you some options. You could create your own videos. You could use existing YouTube videos. And let me add some more options. You could also use videos created by other educators with Edpuzzle. So remember that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Some of the videos will already be there and you can use them. And I'll add the fourth option and I'll say all of the above. The next step, I do need to choose at least one correct answer. So obviously this will be the correct answer for this video. I hit save and you'll see that at this point, I have the question popping on top of the video. When I'm done, I'm happy with the questions I've added. I can click finish. And now I can actually assign the video to a certain class. So that's what I will do. I will click on assign and I will assign it to this open class that we've just created. As you see, I can choose to prevent skipping if I want to or not. I can turn on closed captions. I can put a due date and so on and so forth. We don't need a due date because I will use it live. But this is it. At this stage, I have created my class. I have created the video. I've assigned the video to the class. Now the question is, what is the next step? I have two options. because I want to use this video as a live video, I would actually want to invite you or invite some of you to join my open class. Now, remember, if you have the classic class, your students will already be in. You will not have to do this. But I will copy the link and I will put it in the chat. Franco and Alvin, if you could help me to share that link with the audience, that would be great. Once you get that link, you can try it out if you want to see how it works or how it feels for a student. Just click on the link and join the live class, just so you have an idea of how that would work. But once again, you don't have to do that. It's just a voluntary thing. I will also join actually on my phone, so I can show you how the answer will look like. And once you actually join an open class as a student, now as a teacher, I can just go to the assignment. And of course, I already see that some students already joined. So I have Olga, I have Windblast. You can use your own name, or you can actually use a nickname if you want. So use that we have already a couple of students joining in. Now, because I've assigned the task already in classroom, in Edpuzzle, you could start watching it, but I can also use the live mode. And this is what I'll show you quickly. So I will start the live mode, the live demo now. So what will happen in this case is that the video will play on my screen. And I see who the students are. You can still join if you want to. And when I hit start, this is what happens. The video plays on the actual screen. We can watch it together. And when the questions pop on my screen, you'll actually have them on your end, either on your device or on your phone, on your laptop, or any device you're actually joining. So at this stage, the question pops on the screen, and for the students, it also pops on the student devices, and I can actually choose the answer as a student, and I can submit it. And as you see, it also gives me in real time how many students actually answered already, and more or less where we are with the number of students that are live and what's happening with that question. I would normally give people more time, and I would invite my students to answer the question. I see that we are at 6 out of 13 so far, 7. So as you see, the numbers change in real time. And because this is a quick demo, I will actually continue so you see the outcome. But of course, when you're in the classroom, you would give them enough time, and you would then talk about the responses. So you see then, as a student, you see what the correct answer is. You also see, I'll show you on my student interface, if I got the correct answer or not. And then, as a teacher, I can also choose to show the responses. So this is where we can have the class conversation. I see that from all of the students respond. I mean, I see what options were chosen, and I can actually move on. And when we are done with the video, I can exit the live video, the live mode. So once again, this was a really quick demo. I will still have the analytics, even though it was done in the live mode. You'll see the answers. You'll see who answered the question. You'll see their grade. You'll see the score. So Bogdan, that was my demo account. I didn't get the correct answer, but I see that, yeah, most of you have got it. And then I can focus on those students that either didn't submit or didn't get the correct answer. And as you see, it took me a bit more than 5 minutes. It took me 8 minutes altogether. But I really wanted to just quickly show you how this would work as a quick demo. How does that look for you? Just let me know in the chat quickly if this would be useful for you. And also, I will sort of slowly stop talking because I went a bit over time. I am so excited about Edpuzzle, and I could talk about it for hours in a row without stop and using videos, but I do want to give the floor for the other speakers as well and for the announcements. But do let me know in the chat if you think the live mode would be useful for you, and if you plan on using it as well. And not only the live mode, of course, but also the other classic approach and just using Edpuzzle in general. I will also tell you though that it's a good idea to check the online PD. So if you go to goedpuzzle.com online PD, you have different short classes that help you understand better how the flipped learning works, how you can integrate Edpuzzle with different tools, how you can use it for project-based learning, how you can become an Edpuzzle coach. And this is where we'll also have some announcements as far as I understood in terms of the Edpuzzle Coach of the Month and Edpuzzle Teacher of the Month. Okay, I'm glad to see the comments. So some of you said that you'll definitely try the live mode in my classes and that it's useful. As I said, decide on what you're teaching, choose the best approach that's useful for that particular lesson and for that particular learning goal. And always remember to combine things, play with them, mix them around, combine them and tweak things as you go around. Awesome. So Franco, Alvin, are we ready to announce the winners for the Edpuzzle Coach and Teacher of the Month?
Yes, we are. Okay, thank you so much for that, Bogdan. No, like really amazing demonstration. I think our teachers now are so eager to try all of these things. Okay, even I, no, Bogdan. I'm into Edpuzzle, but not like your level. Okay, I'm like number 2 or 3, somewhere right there. Unlike Sir Alwin, no, super mega ninja. So Bogdan makes me level to accommodate Sir Alwin. But anyway, thank you, Sir Bogdan, for that. Okay.
Thank you.
Sir Alwin, are we ready to announce, okay, our advisor? But um, before we go to that, Sir Bogdan, is that before we announce Bogdan, our winners for the Edpuzzle Coach of the Month, and of course Edpuzzle Educator of the Month. Also, first, would like to first show some appreciation to, of course, our speaker. He'll be back later. Okay, he will not say goodbye yet. Okay, but would like to present already this certificate of appreciation and recognition for your input for today before we make our very, very important announcement for today. So, Sir Alwin, would you mind to read our certificate of recognition for our speaker for today?
Okay, thank you for that, Sir Franco. So let me read the certificate for our speaker for today. Certificate of recognition. This certificate of recognition is awarded to Bogdan Copil for sharing his knowledge and expertise in the recently concluded webinar entitled Maximizing Edpuzzle in Synchronous and Asynchronous Learning, awarded on July 28, 2021. And our training hour is 1 hour and signed or to be signed by yours truly, Edpuzzle Ambassador and Mr. Franco Nicolo Adon. So thank you very
Yeah.
much, Mr.
Thank you
Bogdan.
as well.
Thank you
And
so much.
I do want to quickly say this. So I am part of the Facebook group as well now. So please feel free to drop a question there, and I'll be more than happy to jump in whenever I see something where I think I can help out. So you won't get rid of me now. I am part of the group, so I'm more than happy
And
to help out.
that's a very, very good problem for us, no? And we will never try to get rid of you. You're very much welcome to be part of our community, and we're actually honored, no, to be to have you in our community, Bogdan, to help us discover more about Edpuzzle. I can feel the enthusiasm earlier when you were demonstrating how much you love Edpuzzle, and that's just a kind of enthusiasm you want from our teachers. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
to encourage our teachers more, we have so we have a competition this month, no, July. Okay, and we are now ready to announce our first ever Edpuzzle Pilipinas Educator of the Month for July, and of course, Edpuzzle Pilipinas Coach of the Month, no, for July as well. So I'll give Sir Alwin the honor to announce, okay, our winners, okay, for this competition. Sir Alwin, maybe we could begin with our Edpuzzle Educator of the Month. Go ahead. And that's going to come out in about now.
Yes, so our Edpuzzle Educator of the Month is Miss Joanne C. Estrella from Concepcion Integrated School. So Sir
Yan,
Franco, nanood po natin yung video niya, di ba?
yes.
Ma'am, Joanne's video is very scientific.
Yes, oo. And of course, we're going to share that to our community so that you also get to see exactly how it looks like when you actually apply and use Edpuzzle for your lessons. And you'll actually be amazed how Teacher Joanne applied Edpuzzle in her lesson, in science lesson. And it's actually on chemical reaction. And we actually enjoyed watching it. It's like we're kids watching the video of Teacher Joanne, okay? And really enjoyed it. You know what, that Edpuzzle like really create that magical dynamics in a video. Like it's like if a video is something right here, when you put Edpuzzle, like it goes like somewhere times 10 kind of dynamics in your video. Okay. Anyway, for Teacher Joanne, you'll be receiving an Edpuzzle Pilipinas swag bag. Okay, that includes a Edpuzzle Pilipinas shirt, Edpuzzle mask. Okay, and as well your Edpuzzle string bag. Okay, so we'll be sending that to you via courier. So we'll just get your info later on. Okay, so Sir Alvin, let's move on and announce our next our coach of the month. Okay. By the way, Sir Alvin, you might want to first let our audience know what does it make an Edpuzzle coach of the month.
So for us to have, for you teachers to become the Edpuzzle coaches of the month or coach of the month, one thing that we would like is for you to support your different teachers, your community in using Edpuzzle to train the different teachers. So that's why we are looking for the impact of your use of Edpuzzle and trainings to your communities and different schools. So next, we are
Yeah.
also with the expectation that we will be getting testimonies from the different teachers or communities that you have held.
These are game changers. Okay. Edpuzzles so are like really changing the communities. And for that, Sir Alvin, our Edpuzzle coach of the month.
Our Edpuzzle coach of the month is Mr. Gabriel Educado from Gimbalaon Elementary School. So, Sir Franco, hindi po siya stranger sa ating
Yes.
community. So, he is also very active in our webinars, not only here in Edpuzzle Pilipinas, but also in Kaagapay Teacher Support. So, si Idol Gab, ang aking
Yes. No.
partner sa ating
Yes,
webinar.
no, dynamic duo. Teachers, hindi po to luto, no? Talaga pong napaka-intensive ng exposure ni Teacher Joseph. Alam naman natin kung paano mag-share, no? Si Teacher Joseph. No, teachers, yan ang ano natin, no? That's one of the things while we're doing the coach of the month to encourage our Edpuzzle coaches to go beyond using Edpuzzle, because as an Edpuzzle coach, your next responsibility is to actually encourage others to use and to also assist other teachers in using Edpuzzle and let them discover the magic of Edpuzzle. Okay, so I hope that we can always go out of our comfort zones and actually help other educators. And that's what we want. That's what encapsulates an Edpuzzle coach of the month. Okay, so we'll see you teachers in August for our next Edpuzzle coach and of course Edpuzzle educator. So we'll be launching the application form for August, okay, next week, okay, to start off our August competition. Okay. So, Arwin, anything else before we proceed for right? Bogdan, would you like to make some input right there on how our teachers can use or be more active in using Edpuzzle?
Sorry, I had my microphone muted.
Yes.
So I really like the way, like the enthusiasm I feel in the group, and I like seeing that you're actually promoting also the coaches and the teacher of the month. So what I would say, and I would strongly encourage everybody to just collaborate and share good practices. Now, Edpuzzle is a tool that can be used individually, but there's huge power in the community as well. So remember that when somebody creates a video and a puzzle, they can share it with the whole community. And by doing that, we actually all contribute to creating that video pool and just helping each other out. So
Yeah.
my first recommendation is to just try things out. if you haven't used Edpuzzle yet, just dip your toes in the water, see how it works, play a bit with yourself. If you want, you can connect with some other teachers around and swap ideas and bounce ideas. And do make use of the community. Like, I see a great community here, and also the Facebook group where there's materials that are being shared and updates, and you share all of this awesome content. So I think that would be a good starting point for anybody. So thank you for doing that as well. Just keeping the community alive and encouraging people.
Thank you so much. And again, Bogdan, you're part of that community already.
Yes.
So you will definitely receive like notifications from that community. So Bogdan will park you for now at the backstage for to give way to our next part of our session for today, which is on Edpuzzle updates. Okay, so we'll see you in a while, Bogdan, for our panel discussion. Okay? As we welcome our next speaker, our next guest for today. Okay, Sir Alwin, we are yet, we're not yet done with the international presence. No, we have yet another one who's going to be with us. Okay, from an Edpuzzle, from our Edpuzzle community. Let me just remove that first. Okay, so Sir Alwin, what's next? What's our next the next part of our session today?
Yes, Sir Franco. So, the next part of our session will be on the updates. Ito po yung isa sa mga pinaka-inaabangan ng mga teachers, that one of the most awaited and one of the most talked about post na pinost po natin, shinare natin sa ating Facebook group. And teachers, the speaker who will be sharing the updates to us is none other than the Director of School Partnerships of Edpuzzle, and all the way from Europe once again. So talagang level up ang mga speakers natin. We are getting the OGs of Edpuzzle. So Sir Franco, let us now call on Miss Olga from Edpuzzle Incorporated.
Hello, welcome everybody. A very, very warm welcome from Barcelona. We have a very beautiful sunny day today. And it's a pleasure from my side to connect with you, because I'm also part of the group, the Facebook group that Sir Franco and Sir Alvin are so incredibly engaging. So thank you for all the good work that you've been doing in organizing this whole community. And thank you for participating in today's session. I'm very, very, very excited to announce that in the coming weeks and months, we are dropping some long-awaited new features. There are 6 new features that we are about to start incorporating between August and the beginning of the next year. The timeline will be different depending on some of those features. And let me jump straight to it. So I would like to share with you a short video in the chat. Maybe you can watch it later at your own convenience. Hopefully, Sir Franco, you can share it also with our public today. The first new feature that will be dropping in very, very soon in August are audio responses for the students. So right now, you'll be able to hear back from your students in a way that's much more personal and more accessible. It's specifically great for younger grades who haven't mastered spelling and typing just yet. It's also very useful for practicing, for example, pronunciation while learning foreign languages. So if you're teaching French or Spanish, you can embed questions that will require the student to correctly pronounce the word and then get graded based on how they did. Another very, very important feature would be screen recording. From now on, you will be able to fully record, edit, and embed questions in your videos all in one place. So instead of using some external tools such as Screencastify or whatever application you're using for recording your screen, you can now record both your screen and yourself also delivering the presentation to add a more personal touch. And then you can just straight from within Edpuzzle start embedding questions, and it'll be like a one-stop shop for recording screen and preparing video lessons. The third important update, new integrations, especially the long-awaited Microsoft Teams and Clever integrations. Also, we are bringing our Google Classroom integration to another level through an add-on that will be working essentially, for example, the schools that are working with Canvas or other LMSs know that they can, through the LMS itself, they can already create a lesson and assign it within the LMS itself. So the add-on is supposed to drop in early 2022. So yes, I can see that Sir Franco is already excited for that one. Yes, we've had a lot of teachers that were asking about that, and we are very happy that our product team did this amazing job of incorporating this feature. Another one, Edpuzzle Originals. Edpuzzle Originals will be a library of over 1,000 professionally made and standard aligned videos made with built-in practice. So the difference here would be that instead of looking for a video and then finding the good way to embed questions or crop it or edit it, this has been created having this like built-in practice in mind already. So the pace has been adjusted to how we want to interact with the students through the video. It's been created by our curriculum team. It covers concepts from sciences, history and social studies, math, and English language arts. So since this is all aligned with Common Core standards, I'm sure that in many schools across the Philippines, you will find at least part of the content very, very helpful. Another very exciting feature, and I think that it really matches well the concept of today's session, student projects. You can put your students in the driver's seats by letting them record and create their own video lessons. So we are bringing the student projects to a whole new level. Very soon we will have more details on how much more advanced the student projects can become now with the new functionalities. And I'm sure that this would be, especially for higher grades, that would be a very good way to spark creativity and really make the students feel much more recognized for the effort that they're putting in their learning. And to top everything of that, we are coming up with a new, very seamless design for easier and faster creation of video lessons and for checking for understanding. So you'll see in a few weeks that when you log into Edpuzzle, we'll obviously send out announcements before that, so you can be aware of everything that's changing. You will see that it's going to be even easier on the level of how the content is structured, how the lessons are organized, how easy it will be to just choose the right option from the menus. And I'm absolutely sure that everybody will love that. So stay tuned, and we will be very happy to share more of this adventure with you. Thank you very much.
I'm really excited about the updates, Miss Olga. Thank you very much.
I knew you would.
Yes, okay, right there. We're now complete now into the stream. Thank you so much, Olga, for walking us through
Thank you.
into these updates. Maybe can you, Olga, may I clarify that the updates are going to be on a gradual rollout, not on this
Correct.
on this
Yes.
event?
Yes. They're not
And-
going to be incorporated all at once. The first ones to drop will be the audio responses, the screen recording, and some of the new integrations. So the Microsoft and Clever will come first, and then the Google Classroom add-on will drop probably in January 2022.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. At least our teachers would know when this would be coming out, and they can anticipate and how they can integrate this into their classes. Okay, Sir Alwin, any reactions on how excited you are? We are, Mr. Copil and I are like talking and conversing in the chat, and we're both excited. Mr. Copil, go ahead.
Well, I mean, all I can say is now I feel bad for not being a full-time teacher to actually enjoy all of these features to the full extent. Because like few years back when I was still in the classroom full-time, these features would have been so useful for me. So I'm excited about what's coming. Of course, I'll be using them in my trainings, but with students, they would have been a game changer for sure.
Yes. If you're like regretting not teaching now, I'm regretting not being a student right now because not only our teachers will benefiting from these updates, even our students. Given, for example, the student projects that like levels up the student agency and voice of our students, okay, and therefore like sends no like a really a deeper learning process, okay, for our students, okay. So
Sir
I really
Franco,
hope
to
it. Yes, go
make
ahead, Sir Alvin.
one more envious. Actually, in my team, we are really planning to use a student project for next term, and our students will be really experiencing all of the different features of Edpuzzle. So, Sir Bogdan, perhaps you would want to go back to teaching.
Maybe one day,
No,
who knows?
yes, we would want that, Sir Alvin, but no. Let's skip Sir Bogdan right there because he's really more needed in like training us, understanding, know how to use Edpuzzle. No, Olga, I have one another question which I think our teachers are also still uninterested. Okay, well, I know you have your all of these updates already, and all of these bombs you have dropped into us, okay, and we're excited. But our teachers are always curious about, okay, any is offline modality in the vision or in the direction of Edpuzzle anytime soon because connectivity and access has always been limited by internet access or dependency on internet access.
Of course, our product team has had that in their portfolio of things that they want to implement in the platform for a while, but we cannot tell you whether there's any feasible timeline as to incorporating any of those features anytime soon. But they're definitely aware of that, especially since we have so many clients, so many schools using the tool in regions where the connectivity is a large issue. So we definitely will be trying to address this at some point.
That's more than enough for us, no? Yeah, just the thought of it, okay, and you putting it in your like into the direction, we're okay with that, okay. And I know that Edpuzzle will always do its best for the educators, no. One last thing, Olga, no, for the updates coming in, or in Edpuzzle, okay. Do our teachers need to do anything, or are the updates automatically pushed into their
Not at
accounts, or
all.
are there like
Yes. Once they are going to be made available, it's possible that they are going to be available in different parts of the world at different times gradually. We have, for example, some schools in the US that are now in the beta testing. These are just like a few schools that agreed to have a possibility to integrate with the less advanced version of the new features. But then once it's made available to everybody, it will be just launched in the platform. So there is no need to upgrade anything from the side of the teachers. One important thing, though, in terms of the screen recording, it's very important that the teachers have the Edpuzzle add-on installed in their Chrome browser, because Chrome is going to be the default browser to support that version. And through the Edpuzzle add-on, we'll be also coordinating the screen recording app.
Sir Franco loves that.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love that. Okay,
Approved.
our community, our community would always know that I'm Team Google. So anything Team Google related to Google, it makes me like giddy and excited about this. So thank you so much for that,
Amazing.
Olga. No? So anyway, I don't see any questions right now or any concerns from our audience. I think Bogdan like discussed the topic comprehensively. The updates were very clear. Okay, so we're just going to update them. So teachers, don't worry. Every time a new update is pushed into the platform, we'll update you in our community and tell you if it's ready for use and you can actually access them already. Okay. Now, before we head on and with our evaluation and end our session, and of course, bid goodbye to our speaker, Miss Olga. Let's first, Sir Alwin, show some appreciation, okay, to our speaker, Miss Olga, with this certificate of recognition. Okay. Before I forget, no, I almost, okay. Yes, okay. But we will not forget that. Okay, that's a simple token of appreciation for spending your time with us here at Edpuzzle Pilipinas.
Thank you so much. This is really lovely.
Go ahead, Sir Alvin.
So the certificate of recognition is awarded to Olga Grodniewicz for sharing her knowledge and expertise in the recently concluded webinar, also entitled Maximizing Edpuzzle in Synchronous and Asynchronous Learning. So once again, it's awarded on the 28th of July, and your signatories, yours truly, your Edpuzzle ambassador, and Sir Franco Adun, our Edpuzzle ambassador as well. So thank you very much, Miss Olga, for sharing your expertise and sharing the upcoming updates that we really look forward to.
Yes, and in Filipino, Olga and Bogdan, maraming salamat. Mabuhay kayong dalawa. Maybe we could ask a simple message first from Olga and Bogdan as to encourage our Filipino Edpuzzle users.
Bogdan, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I already started typing things in the chat. I really had a great time in this session. And the main reason for this is because I'm always inspired to see educators who want to improve their game and who want to discover new tools that can help them. And it's not about the educators that much, but it's about the students and the impact and the benefit that will have on the students' learning. So I'm really happy to see, as I said, educators that want to learn more, that collaborate with others. So once again, congratulations for you for putting the community together, and for every member of the community for sharing resources and collaborating and inspiring each other. So as I said, you're stuck with me now. I am part of the Facebook group, so I'll be more than happy to jump in when you need help, or I can share some resources as well.
Thank you so much for that, Bogdan. Go ahead, Olga.
Thank you very much. Thank you for participating. Really, I think it was already said today, but I really wish I was a student right now because it would have been a completely different experience. And this is exactly what all of you teachers are doing. I still have those memories of a few teachers that made a huge impact on my life, and I will remember them until the end of my days. And I'm sure that you will be this kind of persons in many of your students' lives, and I will remember you for a long time. And this is exactly thanks to all the effort that you put into getting better, into looking for better, more engaging ways to connect with your students. And thank you very much for that. And we will do from Edpuzzle, we will do everything possible to help you in that adventure.
Thank you so much, Olga, for that message. Okay, very inspiring teachers. No, even if they're so busy, they're here to help us and to assist us in getting knowing Edpuzzle more and maximizing Edpuzzle. So, teachers, virtual applause, please, for our speakers for today. Before we bid goodbye, we will not yet say goodbye to them forever because they're very much part of our community already. Again, they'll always be there in our Edpuzzle group. Okay, so again, Olga and Bogdan, thank you so much. Okay, we'll now bid goodbye to you temporarily so that you could rest already. Bogdan, stay safe there. We know the store, there's a storm. We can hear it from your earlier. We're actually scared earlier because of the sound, but please do take care. Olga, enjoy the sun, the sunny day there, and
thank you very
see
much.
You again. Okay?
Take care.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Maraming salamat from the Philippines.
Okay,
adios, so adios. Okay, Sir Alwin. Now, before Sir Alwin, before tayo mag-discuss siguro, i-present na muna natin ang ating evaluation link. Kaya lang, Sir Alwin, gusto ko palang mag-apologize. Alam mo yung mistake ko, hindi ko pa naipadala ang certificates natin from the last session. Okay? I missed it. I think I thought I sent it already, pero pagtingin ko kanina sa evaluation, wala pa. So sorry teachers, I apologize for that. I'll be sending your Edpuzzle Webinar 3 certificates right after this session. For the meantime, you may now evaluate our session, okay? Via this link, okay? Please do check, teachers, if you can access the link now. And if not, please do let me know, okay? So that I can remedy it or fix that, okay? So let me know, teachers. Let us know if that actually works. Sir Alwin, how was it? How's the... sobrang ganda, no? Of course, hindi maintindihan Bogdan won't be able to understand what I'm saying, but he's actually the session of Bogdan was an eye opener in terms of like how do you actually use Edpuzzle in a real situation or in a digital classroom. I especially like the rotation stations. We used to call that a different name in a physical setup, in a face-to-face setup. We call that, if I'm not mistaken, the jigsaw activity
Yes.
before. Okay, but it's now more properly called as the rotation station activity. But reminds me, how to that you can actually use that, in a digital classroom. If we have forgotten that, okay. Anyway, Sir Alvin, any reaction, insights? Okay, how was it? Okay.
So,
Although super mega ninja ka na raw sabi, according to Bogdan, you are a super mega ninja and puzzle users. We still want to know your insights about it.
so actually sa akin talagang ang ganda nung feedback, ang ganda nung binigay ni Sir Bogdan na mga activities. Ginagawa kanina, nag-i-screenshot ako para mabalikan ko at mapag-aralan ko ulit para siguro mai-integrate ko sa klase ko. At the same time, kapag magbibigay tayo ng mga training, baka magamit din natin yung mga input na binigay ni Sir Bogdan. Tapos,
Yes.
heads up lang talagang, ang ganda talaga ng mga updates na parating ng Edpuzzle. So, nabigyan tayo ng chance na mag-beta testing. At ako personally, sobrang excited ko sa bagong feature, lalo na yung screen screen recording feature ng Edpuzzle na paparating. Talagang siguro feeling ko ang mga teachers mas magagamit at mas mag-e-enjoy sila sa Edpuzzle kasi
Mm-mm.
hindi na po tayo mag-upload teachers. So doon na mismo tayo magre-record sa platform ng Edpuzzle at I'm very sure na matutuwa at mag-e-enjoy din kayo kapag na-experience nyo na ang mga updates ng Edpuzzle.
Yes. Actually, Sir Alvin, malaking bagay. It's a very big thing. Now, this might be like for some a small update, like screen recording locally or natively in Edpuzzle, but it's a big thing in terms when you're looking at computers or devices. Not going out of the Edpuzzle website actually allows you to work much better. The workflow is better. Because you don't need to get out of the application or to be redirected out of the application. That improves the dynamics of the application so much. Okay, but again, I'm really more interested on the student project because that brings really a very important aspect of learning, which is a student agency and student voice. So really looking forward to that one. Okay, so teachers, as Sir Alwin, our link is working and they're able to evaluate. So that actually would conclude our session, teachers. No, just for everyone's information, for next week, we'll be starting the application for the August competition. So for those who would want to become an Edpuzzle educator and Edpuzzle coach, no repetitions. Okay, so Teacher Joanne and Teacher Joseph, you can no longer apply for August competition. Let's give others a chance. Okay, and of course, I will also be continuously update you in our Facebook group. So if you're not yet a part of our Facebook group, teachers, please do join us at Edpuzzle Pilipinas. Let me just flash that if I can. Do I have a banner for that? I don't have a banner for that. Edpuzzle Pilipinas, just search for it. You'll definitely find us find that group in Facebook. Okay. So teachers, again, maraming salamat for joining us today. Sir Alwin, any final message to our audience before we
So,
close
teachers,
our session?
maraming salamat po sa pagsama sa amin ulit ngayong gabi. At manatili po tayong active, dynamic, and energetic, hindi lamang sa Facebook, kundi pati din sa paggamit ng Edpuzzle sa ating mga klase. At sa pag meron po kayong mga training sessions or mga katanungan, nandito lamang po kami ni Sir Franco. Sabihan nyo lamang po kami or message nyo po kami, gaya ng sabi ni Sir Franco. Basta gising po kami at may internet at may kuryente, magre-reply po kami sa inyo, teachers.
Sir Alwin, okay, if you just check our private message right now, okay? Can we just say that together? Ready, set, go. Okay, teachers, padaliin ang buhay. Edpuzzle na yan. Okay, mag-practice pa po ulit kami para mas-sync kami next time. Pero teachers, maraming salamat. We'll see you on our next webinar session on this series. Paalam teachers and have a great day.